Good evening, everybody. What's up? How we doing? Joshua, Fatih, Jersey Red, my friend. How are you? Peter, good day. Back at you. Steve and NH, what's up? How you doing? Mel, yeah, what's up? Ray, what's going on? Cold and snow in NorCal. Stay warm. Pretty crazy bit of weather going on here in the States. Who else we got here? Kevin, what's going on in Pennsylvania? James in snowy Syracuse. Winter is back. Indeed. Everybody stay warm there. All right. Russ in chilly Vegas. It's chilly all over the place. Jody One, what's up? Danny Ryan, what's going on? Glenn B. Larry Foster, how are you? Scott. Hello. Can we pause for 5 seconds at the beginning so we can delete the commercials and see you from the start? Yeah, unfortunately, good old YouTube, right? At least I spend the first couple minutes going down the roll call, right? Tuzi Goot, what's up? Shirok, Chris Cook, what's going on? Larry, it's going good. Thank you. It's for you. What's up? He's here. Jake 99's here. Mark B in Portland, what's going on? Andy E, what's up? Warm Florida. John, what's going on? And Jim Gregory, man, sorry to hear it was a rough week, but I'm glad that you're here. All right. Todd from balmy Iowa. I love it. Thanks for joining. JD in Springfield. All right. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. Really appreciate it. TC in Florida, back for more. I love it. Welcome. For those of you joining for the first time, we meet at the same time each and every Friday and alternate between the acoustic and the electric, although we try to keep all the skills easily transferable from one instrument to the other, if that's all you got. What's up, Robin? I see you. Thanks for joining. And Joshua, all right. How's it going? And Fatih's here from Indonesia. I love it. Okay. For those of you joining for the first time, also, we have tabs that we go through, musical examples, hopefully things that will inspire some practice, inspire some a little bit of experimentation for you over the next week or so. So expand the description below the video and you'll find a link to a PDF with the tabs that we're going to go through. All right. Rich, what's going on in Chicago? Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Circle back if you can. Robin, what's going on? All right. We got 2 Robins on here tonight. That's cool. Hopefully you're hearing everything all right. All right, so acoustic workout. Just going to focus because every 2 weeks we do the acoustic, and I'll alternate every 2 weeks between using the pick and using a finger picking, right? So fingers on 1 week, and then 2 weeks later we'll do the pick. So tonight we're sort of just focused on the pick, which makes it even more sort of transferable to electric guitar, right? We're going to work on some strumming, some arpeggiating, and see how that goes. All right. So here we go. Always start with some sort of a warm up. Sort of came up with this cool idea. Steve, what's going on? JA, what's up? King 50, Northern Nevada, what's up? Thanks for joining, everybody. My idea here is to sort of HH is here. All right. Sort of play a G major scale, but sort of strum it in between. Okay. So let me just play exercise 1A. I think I forgot the A in the description there, but it's easily understood. So go something like this. All right, so just basically adding a G major scale, starting from the low note, 3rd fret of the low string. Kind of finishing it off on the D string, open D, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. Okay. So sort of keeping the upper part of a G chord. You know, I've got the D note and the G note fretted down, 3rd fret of the high string and the B string. If you wanted to, you could even open up the B string if you'd like, as a little bit of an alternative, right? So I think that's sort of a fun little exercise just to kind of see where the notes are and kind of where you end off. Is a cool little spot, cool little position for the G chord here. Okay. Right, who else we got here? Zane, what's going on? Nice to see you. All right. Idea behind these warm-ups are just, sort of just getting the fingers moving. Go as slow as you need to go. That goes for any of these exercises. Go as slow as you need to go in order to execute and, work on facilitating it as best you can at slow speeds. And then with more repetition, you're able to get more comfortable and start speeding it up a little bit. Exercise 1B, we've got some triads. Okay, so what we've got going on is still in the key of G, but we're going to go through the whole chord set in the key of G. Okay, so you'll see it along the top. Tien, what's up? Thanks for joining. We go G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, and then G. So you've basically got the roots of all these chords are the notes from the G major scale. Okay, and what we do is we assign, when we're talking about chords with the roots from the major scale, and we sort of create these chord sets, we think of these chords as Roman numerals. We assign them Roman numerals so that we can sort of think about the relationship between chords and, say, a chord progression and easily transpose into other keys, right? So if we think about G, the first chord in the chord set, exercise 1B, is the 1 chord, right? So that would be a Roman numeral I, right? A minor is the 2 chord, B minor is the 3 chord, C and D are the 4 and 5 chord, E minor is the 6 chord, F sharp diminished is the 7 chord, and G is once again back on the 1 chord, okay? So we're gonna run through all of that, okay? TC is asking if I'm the lone author of these lessons. Yes, I get to have sort of free reign on what I want to teach on Fridays. And I sort of broke it up into electric, acoustic, and, some finger picking, some workouts, some rhythm guitar focus, and seems to be working really well. And by the way, we've got lots of great engagement on the comments. So if anybody has any other ideas they'd like to see for Friday nights, some topics or some subjects to tackle, please leave them in the comments and I will definitely consider it and possibly throw that in there. I know we had a comment last week or maybe a couple weeks ago about revisiting some open tuning, so I think that might be coming up soon. We'll do something like that in the near future, coming weeks. Okay. All right. Exercise 1B. So we're talking about triads, and we talked about, okay, we're assigning the one, all the different Roman numerals to assign that to each chord in the key. And so the first thing you'll notice about the chords in a major key is that the 2 and 3 chord and the 6 chord are minor, and the 1, 4, and 5 chords are major, okay? And then we have this sort of outlier, this 7th chord, that is a diminished chord. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get there. But, really, as quickly as you can sort of memorize that, the better. And think about, in a major key, you've got 3 major chords and 3 minor chords. The 1, 4, 5 are major, and the 2, 3, and 6 are minor, okay? So let's just go through and be a little more specific. And what I'm using here are triads. So, 3 notes spelling out each chord, right? So to start off with G, I've got the 5th fret of the D, 4th fret of the G, 3rd fret of the B string. And I'm just going to arpeggiate that, which means picking each note separately and letting them all ring out together. Okay. Excuse me. So there's our 1 chord. It's made up of a root, a 3rd, and a 5th. In the case of a major chord, the 3rd is what's known as a major 3rd. Okay. And then I'm going to switch string sets and stick to the top 3 string. So now I'm going to go to the second fret of the G, first fret of the B, and the open high E string. Now that's an A minor triad. Okay, A minor chord. Those are the 3 notes that you would have to have minimum in order to play an A minor, right? Move up to 4, 3, and 2 on the G, B, and high E string. That's B minor. Same shape, if you can kind of see. We're not pressing down on the high string because it's open. If you move it up 2 frets, then you have to fret the second fret. And so that's a minor shape, right? Now I'm going to get the 5th fret of the G and B, 3rd fret of the high string. C major, that's our 4 chord. Okay? So this is a triad shape for a major chord, as was when we started with G, although it was a different string set, so it looks a little bit different. Right? That's because of that B string in there is tuned flat, so it sort of mixes up the shape of the notes a little bit. Okay? Yeah, absolutely, Robin. We can have minor triads, major triads, right? All it takes is 3 notes. Okay, so same shape up to D major. That's 7-7-5. The 5 chord in the key of G. All right, now I've got the E note, 9th fret of the G, 8th fret of the B, 7th fret of the high string. We've seen this shape before with B minor, right? Exact same shape. Now up with the root is the E note. So this is E minor, the 6th chord, or the 6th minor chord, right? Now comes the 7 chord, which is the little bit of an interesting shape. It sounds pretty tense. You've got the 11th fret of the G, 10th fret of the B, and then the 8th fret of the high string. And what sort of constitutes a diminished chord is that you've got a root, a minor third, and then another minor third after that, which ends up being a flat 5. Okay, so if you notice, if I move that 5 up to a regular 5, it becomes an F sharp minor. Okay, right? But if I flat the 5, that's what makes it a diminished chord. Okay, so the formula for a diminished chord: root, flat 3, flat 5. And then back where we started, up an octave though, G major, 12th fret of the G and B string, 10th fret of the high string. So if you put it all together and go nice and slow with this and try to flow everything together a little bit, you'll start to hear it in succession. And what you should kind of hear is overall that shape of the major scale as you go up, right? So let's see if we can get this here. Okay. Nice little warm up. Okay, so you can kind of hear that. But you're adding the full chord to it, right? Or a triad, 3 notes in those chords. Everybody with me? It's a lot of stuff there. So listen, as I do these sessions, I do like to get into the theory a little bit and try to throw some stuff out there. If you're new to guitar, you're not good with theory, don't worry about it so much, okay? Especially when you're a beginning guitar player or newer to the instrument or, trying to improve. The most important thing is just to get the fingers, just work out the fingers, keep doing the mechanics of everything. That's the number one focus for you. I throw out this theory stuff because it does get to be a little bit useful after a while. And also if I, bring this stuff up enough, right? You will, start to stick a little bit. You'll start to remember little pieces of it, right? Don't expect you to take in all of this theory stuff all at once and fully understand everything. That's not really what I'm going for. I'm just throwing this out there, and you're going to have little nuggets here and there that kind of connect down the road somewhere and like, oh, I think I remember Mike was talking about that, right? That's the idea behind it. So don't get freaked out with all the theory talk. I'm just throwing it out there and just, hopefully it's back in there for you to make connections down the road. All right. Ryan Durst, what's up? Happy weekend. Love it. Mark B, excellent. Glad you like it. John Y, yes, this indeed is the harmonized major scale. Okay. That's how we come up with chords in any key, is either a major key or a minor key. What we do is we take the scale and we harmonize the notes in the scale into all the possible combinations, right? And then you end up with a set of chords that you can use in that key to create chord progressions, create melodies or support melodies, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's how it actually happens, is harmonizing that scale, whether it be the major or the minor. It's the same idea. You're harmonizing those notes together to create chords that work in that key. Okay? Excellent. All right, exercise 2. Let's get into some strumming. Okay, we're going to start with some 8th note strumming, just some down ups. Okay, I'm going to play this exercise first and we'll break it down a little bit. This is the first 2 bars, which are repeated, and then there's sort of a second part to it. So let's just go with the first chunk here, see what it sounds like. Okay. All right, so some nice sounding open chords with some suspensions a little bit, some extended chords. John Y, from what you said, you're essentially stacking thirds. Yeah, so that's sort of a simplistic way to think of it, because you kind of have to be careful to be a little more specific than that. But yeah, you're harmonizing in thirds, basically. Yeah, like you're basically going down the scale and you're starting with a note, skip the next note, add the note after it. So that's like a third away. So you're right. And then we skip the next note, harmonize with the note after that. So that's pretty much what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. So I'm starting with an E chord here. This is exercise 2A, just a regular open E. And if you look at the rhythm on the top staff here, you don't have any flags on those stems. So that's quarter notes in 4/4 time. You're just going to strum that 1, 2. Okay, right on the beats. 1, 2 with downstrokes. You'll see the little markings there where I give it a downstroke is sort of like a staple looking thing, kind of pointing downwards. And then the arrow pointing downwards is actually an upstroke. Okay, so we're going to encounter that on the next 2 beats. We're going to go to A sus2, open A string, 2nd fret of the D and G, and then the open B string, open high E string. Nice, floaty, great sound. What you've got is basically you've taken an A major chord, and there's the major third, the C sharp, and you bring that down to the B. So you're replacing the third with the second, and that becomes a suspended chord, a sus2. Okay? Now on the 3rd and 4th beat, we've got down, up, equally spaced. This is straight time and 8th notes, right? 3 and 4. Next bar, I'm going to take that shape and just add the 2nd fret of the low string and curl my fingers so that I mute the A string. That's kind of a cool chord right there. That's an F sharp minor 7 with an add 11. Okay. But a nice little floaty chord again. Once again, there's no stems on those notes on the staff, so those are right on the beat for quarter notes. 1, 2, and then grabbing a B7, 2nd fret of the A, 1st fret of the D, 2nd fret of the G, but not doing the 2nd fret of the high string, just leaving the open E string. So that gives kind of a floaty sound. I like this. Extended B7, sort of a B7 add 11. Kind of sounds kind of cool, right? And again, it's the down, up strumming, because we've got 8th notes now, right? So if you're new to strumming, or if you're working on your timing, working on your chord changes, take an exercise like this, okay? Go really slow. Start with 1 bar and loop it. Okay, go even slower than that if you find that you're hesitating to change chords. what you want to try and do is have it be smooth so that you're still in time when you're changing chords, right? Even if you have to go. The important thing is that this isn't interrupted, okay? This motion. Notice that for quarter notes, I'm just doing the downstroke. So I'm actually bringing it back up in between where the and is, but I'm not striking the strings. Okay? But then on the A sus2, I want those upstrokes, so I am going to strike the strings, right? But what you want to do is try and keep this relaxed and steady. Okay, so go as slow as you need to go in order to make that happen. And eventually it'll feel very natural for you, and start to speed it up, and you get going a little bit faster with it. But you kind of have to start slow at first, okay? All right, so a little bit faster with that first exercise. Let's do something a little more syncopated. What that means is that we're going to start, sort of moving away from the steady pulses of 1, 2, 3, 4, and sort of dig in a little more on the offbeats. So the next part of this exercise, still in exercise 2A, is a B minor to a G. So let's check this out. We've got a down, down, up, down. This is a really common strum pattern. Okay, it's an 8th note based strum pattern, but the third beat you're not doing a downstroke on. Okay, you're doing downstroke on the 1 and 2, then an upstroke on the and of 2, upstroke on the and of 3, and then a downstroke on the 4th beat. 1 and 2. It's a little bit tricky. It's what they called syncopation. It's a syncopated strumming pattern, okay? And this chord change is actually, can be a little bit challenging too. So this is a good one to go nice and slow. Just loop it. Note this, if you find yourself, having to change the fingers, try to find where the common finger is. For this, if you notice, the B note, 2nd fret of the A string, is in both chords. So you can kind of use that as an anchor point to just sort of keep it on there and move those other fingers. Sort of shift the hand. I kind of have to go out diagonally a little bit to make that happen. You could even use the pinky if you want up top on the G, right? But anytime you're working on chord changes to try and get them to be faster, always try to, even before bringing the strum in, okay? Just work and try to focus on where the fingers are happening, okay? And plot it out a little bit before you give it a try. Ray's got a good one here too. Or can you bar the G? Yeah, absolutely. That makes it a little bit easier because you're already in that position. You've got the fingers already in that shape. Okay, so that's good bar chord practice. So either way, I think you're going to find can be really helpful. Of course, you want to challenge yourself, right? If this is easier for you, just keeping it in the same shape and going back and forth on the bar chords, that's great. And you could use that to, work on your timing a little bit more, focus on the things that maybe you're having trouble with, but don't shy away from the tough stuff for you, because eventually you're going to have to confront it and learn how to build it into your fingers, right? So either or, give it some equal time, or try to assess which one you need more work on, and, try to be honest about it a little bit. Okay. There you go. No rules. The thing with guitar players is that there's always another way to try and see if it's easier to play. There's got to be another way, right? Because all the notes you've got the same notes in a lot of different spots. So we're doing that all the time, trying to find an easier way to play stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Exercise 2B, let's add in some 16th notes. I've got, let's look at the first bar, and then the second bar I made a little bit of an adjustment to what I'm strumming. But let's look at the rhythm first in the first bar. This is exercise 2B. Okay, so here we go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. Okay. 16th notes. It's a little bit tricky. Okay. Well, we have a question here though. Matthew, best to change chords on the upstroke. There's no rules on that really. You need to try and find, I mean, you have to get to the chord one way or the other. So yes, in this case, like example 2, all of the chord changes happen right on the beat, okay? And there's no upstroke before it. So that would be the spot to kind of do it, right? Because you're not doing an upstroke. So yeah, that sort of makes sense. Sometimes you don't have that luxury. So you have to, try your best to either let go of the chord and maybe hit an upstroke and go to the chord, or practice really slowly so that you can get to the next chord after the upstroke on the next downstroke. But in this case, exercise 2, yes, change the chords on the upstroke works really well. All right, so first bar, we got to look at this. It's once again 2 quarter notes, but then 16th notes, down, up, all on the third beat, moving to a C add 9 chord. Okay, so fourth beat, we're going to G for 8th notes. 4 and. Okay, so that's all downstrokes except for the 16th notes on the third beat. So you got this going. This is sort of the a little bit slower. I've got a little bit of a variation on the second bar where when I go to the G chord, I'm going to outline the B note and the G note. Okay, so I'm going to grab that chord shape, but I'm just going to strum the A string, D string, G string, and then the low string, A string, D string to kind of highlight those melody notes. So when you do that, it sounds like this. So it's kind of a way that you can kind of use the notes in the chord to create a little bit of a melody and a little bit of an intentional shape that adds some interest to it instead of just some straight strums. Okay, so that was the idea behind that one, right? Doing a similar thing with some different chords here in the next 2 bars, but it's the same rhythm. Okay, so I'm going A minor to F to C. Again, in the second bar, I'm doing on the C chord. Same as I did with the G chord, just outlining sort of the E note on the chord and then the C note on the chord. So that's going to sound like. Okay. Cool. You with me? Excellent. All right. Exercise 3, some arpeggiations. Starting off a little bit with some strums as well. So I've got. pretty using some open strings here. So what I've got is just a double stop from an A major chord, 7th fret of the D, 6th fret of the G. Okay? Adding the A as the root, okay? And then the open B, open high E. Okay. James Cody is asking, is it okay to substitute the F major 7 for the F chord at any time? For most of the time, yes, you can. Yes, it is a substitution. Now, keep in mind, though, that if you're in a key that has an F chord but doesn't have an E note in the key, if it's not in the scale of the key, that might be a time not to do it. But pretty much any other time, yes, you could do that. So in this example, we're in A minor or C major, like relative minor, relative major. And so I know there's an E note in C major or A minor. So that F major 7, that's going to work just fine, okay? Sounds good in that example, okay? So that's a good question. Thank you. Good one. All right, back to exercise 3. So I'm starting off here with sort of an A major sound from this double stop, but adding a B note to it. So it's sort of an A add 9, right? We're adding the 9 to it, which is the 2 up an octave, which is the B note, okay? And it makes it a really nice, floaty, pretty sound. And now we're just moving shapes up, right? So if I still have the A in the bass, but move that double stop shape up, it's another pretty sound. It's a B add 11 sound over A. So you're adding an E note to sort of a B majory sound. And if you think about triad shapes, right? If I think about the full triad for A major and for B major, right? 2 frets up, there's an inversion of an A major triad shape on the same string sets at the 11th fret of the D, 9th fret of the G, 10th fret of the B. This is also an A major, right? If I move up 2 frets more, I've got B major from the same triad shape. So if I'm thinking about that, when I move this double stop up, I'm just using the D and G string parts of that triad, but putting the open B string against it. And you end up with sort of the same chords, the A add 9, the B add 11, but they keep climbing, right? All right, so I'm picking A string, D string, and then strumming top 3 strings and go through it. Really pretty sound. What if I arpeggiated the whole thing, where I've got bars 15 and 16, the next 2 bars? Really pretty sound, okay? Something about the ringing out, anytime you can get open strings ringing out, especially on an acoustic guitar, it just sounds really rich and really cool. It can be really pretty, okay? I didn't put any picking directions on this, but you can kind of pick this any way you'd like, but sort of the default way I would think of this for the arpeggiation is all down until you get to the high string, and then just do all upstrokes coming back, okay? Right, and then just repeat that. With me. Good confidence builder. I like it. Excellent. All right. Exercise 4. We've got some strumming practice here. Rusty, thanks so much. Jersey Red for holding it down on the comments. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got here for the strum pattern. looping that first bar. So we've got an 8th note and then a down up in 16th notes. Going back in to a different, going back into a downstroke on the second beat. So sort of how it starts out, right? Excellent. Yes. I guess it is. I never analyzed it before. Thank you. All right. What I'm doing is I'm adding the 2nd fret of the D string onto the chord. Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk about this chord. It's a G chord without anything on the A string. I'm curling my finger to mute the A string. It's totally acceptable to do, because what I'm going to end up doing is using my index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, which adds just a very simple little ornamentation. You're adding one note onto the chord or replacing one of the notes in the chord, and it just creates a little bit of texture and a little bit of tension. It's nice. Let's go to A minor and see what that one brings. Same strum. You got me. A little bit of Tequila Sunrise, but I did embellish a little bit on the A minor and D7. But yeah, this is the chord progression for Tequila Sunrise. Good ones. The Robins got it. All right. Would love to. So all we're doing in this A minor chord is adding your pinky 3rd fret of the B string for 3 of those strums, and it opens up things. It adds like a little bit of interest, right? I'm just looping it right now, okay? And then going to a D7. Now I've got the 2nd fret of the G, 1st fret of the B, 2nd fret of the high string, right? D7 shape with the open D. First thing I'm doing is pulling my finger off the high string to get the open E string, which makes it a D7 sus2, right? Now I'm putting the 3rd fret onto that chord on the high string, which makes it a sus4. And then back to the 2nd fret to resolve that, back to D7 with the major 3rd in it, right? So. All right, so let's play through exercise 4. Let's see if I can get through it here a little bit faster. Here we go. Some nice simple ideas here just to add a little bit of melodic movement, add a little bit of texture, add a little bit of interest to just some strums, right? Makes sense. Exercise 5. All right. Let's see about this one first. So we're going to probably be holding C major to get going here. We've got a little bit of that sort of Pink Floyd "Wish You Were Here" in a Different Key kind of sound. All right, let's get the timing on this. So what's nice about this one is lots of sort of hammer-on kind of ornamentation stuff. So even just that intro a little bit, you want to kind of have it ring out a little bit. So I've got the third fret, you know, this is the root of the C chord, third fret of the A, and then hammering onto the second fret of the D from the open D, and then picking the open G. Just all of that together is, you know, like having that C chord come together, ringing out together, right? Classic move right here. So I'm moving to basically an F triad, right? Third fret of the D, first fret of the B, but I've got the open G string here. And I'm going to strum and then hammer on to the second fret. You know, kind of very piano-like. Those kind of moves are very piano-like. And then follow it right up with a strum on F major, and then another strum back with the open G, okay? So. Now I'm going to go to the C shape. So I'm coming back to the third fret of the A string, still got the first fret on the B string. Now I'm strumming from the A string to the B string and doing the same move, hammering on the open D to the second fret of the D string. Following it up with two more strums. Now I'm pulling off second fret of the D to the open D and hitting the third fret of the A string. So really, the important thing here is sort of the melody as it's weaving. That's sort of the melody, and we're just sort of framing that melody with the chords, okay? So you can be hitting those melodies as you hold on to those chords a little bit. And I'm going to grab the G chord, right? Third fret of the low string. I've got the open A string, open D, open G, and then I'm going to hammer on to the second fret of the A string. Two strums on that, and then back to C. And then just repeat the whole thing. I think it's really pretty. There's a lot of stuff in there to work on, okay? So just go real slow with it. That would be my advice on this. Go slow. Take it a little chunk at a time. Don't try to get everything all at once, okay? Making sense. All righty. Exercise 6, let's do something in 3/4. Okay, you might recognize this one. We'll see if the Robins can pick out which one this is. All right. Regular Mel Bay G chord here. Third fret of the low string, second fret of the A, third fret of the high string, everything else open, right? And we've got a 3/4 time signature. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You'll see that we have a quarter note, which is the downbeat, 1, okay? And then 2 sets of eighth notes. So 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. That's what we got. Okay, second bar is a D chord. Just a regular open D. So let's work on those 2 bars. Remember, 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Joseph, appreciate your back. Sorry to hear about the health issues. I'm glad you're better. Excellent. Welcome back. We're glad to have you back. Okay. From the D chord, we're going to an F chord. Back to G. Okay. number of ways you can do this. I tabbed out the full F bar chord. Okay. You can also grab the top 4 strings if you'd like. You can grab the top 5 strings of that. Okay, so let me play this, and then okay, so then after the G, C chord for 2 bars, F, and then C. Okay, so let's put it together, see if we can get it. All right, some strumming in 3/4. Let's try this. Let's try the second part, because the second part is the chorus of this same song. It's got a little bit of a walk up in it. So we're back to the G chord, same strums, but we're going to walk up. 3rd fret of the low string, open A, 2nd fret of the A. Okay, so coming up to C, 2 bars on C. Now what do we got? D7 right here, okay? Yes, this is exercise 6B, okay? Yeah, I think we're on to page 3 now. So now I've got the D7 sus4 chord, okay? 3rd fret of the high string, 2nd fret of the G, 1st fret of the B, okay? Okay. Ishan, I like that. A little bit of Pink Floyd. That was more the previous one in a different key, kind of. So cool. Let's just look at these D7 sort of embellishments here, okay? You've got the 3rd fret, which is the sus4, going to the 2nd fret, which is the major. So it's just a regular D7. Then the open high string, which is the sus2, and then back to the 2nd fret, which is the major. Okay? So here we go. Whole thing, this is 6B together, a little bit faster. All right, I was going for the Beatles. I might have actually messed up the chord progression in the first 6A. I thought that was the chord progression, but maybe I mixed it up because it might be in a different key. But I don't know if anyone recognizes that. You can hide your love away, that one. And then the chorus would be that, hey. That's what I was going for. So maybe not. Yes, Brad. All right. Thought it was the Beatles. There you go. Excellent. Excellent. I'm adjusting to the bars ending on an upstroke. Yeah. Well, so what you have to do is go right into the next downstroke. Okay. So. And the thing with 3/4 time is that first beat has a natural accent to it. So you want to accent that. Okay. But yeah, when you're coming from an upstroke, you want to keep this going so that, you know, the downstroke on the next bar is continuous, right? Excellent. Excellent. My favorite word. Okay. Exercise 7A. Let's get a little bluesy. This is sort of a straightforward idea here on a couple of open chords. We're going to start with an E chord. And the first thing I want to do is just stay on the E chord and get this shuffle strum going, because we've got down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But right above where it says bluesy strum, this is exercise 7A, there's a little marking there where it's 2 eighth notes equals sort of a quarter note and an eighth note triplet. So what that's telling you is that you're pushing that and a little bit closer to the next downstroke to give it a little bit of a bounce or a shuffle. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, where the ands are all equal, the upstrokes are all equal, in this case, the upstroke is delayed a little bit. It's pushed a little bit towards the next downstroke. And what you get is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, right? You get that shuffle. So if I put that on the E chord, that's the first thing we want to have happen, is that bluesy shuffle sound. Okay? Now, if you notice in the first bar, what I'm doing is I'm adding notes with my pinky onto the B string. Second fret, then back to the open B, third fret, then back to the open B, then back to the second fret open B. All right, so that's a cool little exercise. So you can actually get those notes to pop a little bit more if you focus your strum a little bit more on the top 3 strings instead of everything, right? Like, because those low, if you're really digging into the low notes, tends to kind of bury these high notes a little bit. Okay. So if you kind of hit the first one, the low, let that ring out. More of that, those notes kind of popping out a little bit more. So just a little tip there. But what we've got going on here is a tied strum between the first bar and the second bar. Okay, so I've got down, up, down. Well, it's bluesy. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Let's go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, because I'm not going to strum the first beat of the next bar. You can see it's tied. You see how it's connected on the staff? Those collection of notes have the arcs connected to it, and then it's in parentheses in the second bar. That means that it's held over from the previous strum. You're not actually strumming that. So I'm going to go. Okay, and then come back in on the next upstroke. So okay. So when I repeat it, I'm actually doing all the strums, but it's just every second bar, I'm kind of not strumming that first beat, which gives it a little texture, right? It's a little bit of a groove. Oh. Maybe a little slowed down version of what was that one? I'm mixing up the hey hey mama, what's the matter here? That one. There we go, Zeppelin. Well, we got Zeppelin coming up in the last example, so we'll get to it. All right. So just another example on how to do exercise 7B, right? Oh yeah, American Woman. That's another sort of sound of that kind of thing. Exercise 7B, just doing the same on the A7. How would you do it? Use your pinky on the second and third fret of the high string onto the A7. How would I do the 5 chord? What if I used the same idea on the E, the open E, and just moved it up to the 7th 7th fret and made it a dominant 7th chord. So I have my pinky. Okay. And so right there, you've turned it into a movable riff, right? HH, just keep working on it. Keep working on it. It's all good. Yeah. It's all about. Just keep at it. Okay, so you can turn this from an open chord into a movable bar chord riff. Okay. All right. Thanks for sticking with me. Last exercise, exercise 8. You might recognize this one. Led Zeppelin came up, so it kind of goes like this. So let's see. Wow. Should we? Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I did it or not, but yeah, Scott, Hangman. Right on, John. Thanks for dropping by. So yeah, that's Gallows Pole. We've got an open A7 chord. Okay. Going to an A minor 7, which is an interesting change, right? Going from the major to the minor. Okay. Nice one, Robin. All right. What I like about it is the shape. 2nd fret of the D, 1st fret of the B. You kind of slide that shape up 2 frets and grab the 5th fret of the high string at the end of that. So if I go really slow. All right. And then G, we've got a bar 2/4, which always adds a nice little interesting little texture into the arrangement, right? Just an open G chord, down, down, up, and then to the D chord, down, down, up on those beats, right? Anyway, a little bit of Zeppelin to end it off. Lots of strumming in this particular workshop tonight. So look, even if this is well within your wheelhouse, well within your skill set, there's always things that you can do to work on with these kind of things, right? Whether it's I want to make my chord changes cleaner, quicker. I want them to be crisper. I want to work on my feel. I want my timing to be really consistent. Okay, what's going on here? I got to fix that camera thing. It keeps saying that it's not set to auto, but it keeps turning into auto. I don't know if YouTube's taking over my settings. Who knows? But work on your timing, work on your groove, work on steadier, nice, relaxed. Even if you're just like, I need to make my strumming arm a lot more relaxed, just focus on that. Find some sort of aspect of your playing that you feel like you can improve and use these exercises to get you there. Just a suggestion, all right? Brad, thanks so much for blocking on the comments, all right? HH, thank you for dropping in as always, okay? Rusty, Jersey Red, thanks as always for being on here. Peter N, thanks so much. Russ, thank you. Thanks, Robin. Alonzo, thank you. Glenn, yes, Glenn, whenever you can drop in, love to have you. So, but no apologies necessary. All right. Just, keep coming whenever you can. All right. Excellent. Always great to see you. Stephen NH, thank you. James, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. There it is, HH. Matthew, back to the A-shaped bar on the 7th fret. That stretch with the pinky is tough. It is. It is not easy to get that. Okay. Definitely a step up from maybe the open chord stretches. Okay. The Ray. Thank you, Danny. Thanks so much, King 50. Yes, thank you. Steve, you did not keep with the guitar, man. You did not make a mistake. All right. Robin, thanks so much for dropping by. John Y, thank you. Scott, thank you so much. Brad, thank you. Jake 99, thank you. Joseph, thanks. Glad to have you back, Joseph. Steve, thank you. Chris Cook, thanks so much. Joshua, thank you. Zane, I appreciate it. Thank you. Ryan, thank you. Andy E, thank you. Ray, thanks. Like me some acoustic once in a while, Jody 1. There you go. Absolutely. JD, thank you. Melia, thank you. Jersey Red, thanks. I appreciate it, man. Gerald, thank you so much. Listen, everybody have a great weekend. Have a great into next week. We'll be back on the electric next week. Okay? Come back to Edmonton for a show. I usually visit Calgary because that's where I grew up, even though I was born in Edmonton, but I have family in Edmonton. So I will definitely get back at some point. All right. I'll give you a heads up on here when it looks like it's happening. Robin, that's a good idea. Yeah. Maybe we'll do some stuff with the capo coming up on the next acoustic. All right. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next week. All right. Cheers, everybody. See ya.